So good morning, everybody. I think we will just wait for 2 more minutes for some people who are late coming back from coffee. Then I'm going to do a brief introduction, firstly to the topic and secondly to our speakers. And then we'll begin. So 2 more minutes and then we will start. Welcome, everybody. Take a seat anywhere. Okay, good morning, everybody, and thank you for joining the session on logistics and cross-border trade. We have a very interesting session ahead. I'm going to start by introducing myself. I'm going to give a small introduction to the topic, but first I would like to welcome our distinguished guests this morning. Thank you so much, Excellency, and distinguished guests from the Embassy of Korea and the United Kingdom, and all our other guests. Thank you so much for joining. Also for the participants online, I hope you can hear us. Firstly, just to introduce myself, my name is Julian Clarke. I was formerly, for the last 15 years, the senior economist for Southeast Asia at the World Bank. And I was specializing particularly in private sector development and trade. So I come very much from a trade background. I studied my PhD in economics, majoring in trade. And I started my career at the World Trade Organization and then joined the World Bank looking after trade, huge trade projects, first in Vietnam, then in Cambodia, Laos, and also working in Mongolia, Malaysia, Brunei, across the region. So that's who I am. We have a very distinguished panel this morning, including our first speaker, Mr. Sathaporn, who I will introduce momentarily. I'll just take you briefly through the topic that we'll be discussing today. We are going to talk about why logistics are in the context of Mekong countries. We'll be talking about how logistics are driving new patterns of investment and growth in Asia. And we'll be talking about the sustainability of logistics going forward. And to do that, we have not only Mr. Sathaporn, who is our first speaker, but also a representative from DHL, who will be talking to us about the sustainability of logistics in the region, particularly about how they're reducing emissions in their trucking fleet and moving towards more renewable energy sources. And finally, we'll be talking to Michelle Zhao, who is General Manager of the Phnom Penh Special Economic Zone. And we'll be hearing about how special economic zones have become very important nodes in the movement of goods across the region and a crucial part of what we call Factory Asia. So those are the three topics we'll be discussing. Uh, as I said, we have Mr. Sathaporn, Yelena, and Michelle. So why are logistics important? I'm an economist, but I'm also a trade policy expert. And trade creates wealth, and the it creates trade logistics. And one thing that we're seeing, particularly here in Asia, is the growth of just-in-time manufacturing, where factories in Malaysia or here in Thailand are able to split up the production processes depending on the speciality of each country. For example, I recently spoke to a wetsuit manufacturer. Wetsuits are the suits you wear when you go diving. They do neoprene pressing of the wetsuits here in Thailand. They move those wetsuits to Cambodia where they are stitched. Those wetsuits then come back to Thailand for finishing, and then they are trucked through Cambodia down to Vietnam to the ports. And they are able to do this all in split-second timing so that they can meet the shipment targets and that they can meet their stock and demand targets in the large American and EU markets. So what we've seen is that's just an example of the type of manufacturing splits that have happened across the region. And the only way that this type of logistics is possible, or this manufacturing is possible, is through smooth logistics. So this is where we get the term factory Asia, where manufacturing has been split across the region. Now, the Mekong region is becoming more important in the context of trade, and logistics are becoming more important also because of the phenomenon of offshoring. What we're seeing is that factories that were previously located in China are now coming down into the Mekong region. One major aspect of this is that the price of labor in China has now become too high. So Cambodia, Laos, and Vietnam offer a more competitive factory destination for investors. And the Mekong region, because of the good logistics, is able to handle the production facilities that are coming down into the region. So the greater Mekong area is becoming very important in the factory Asia concept. And this means that logistics themselves are driving new patterns of investment. To the extent that countries can make logistics easy, that border facilities and border management is quick and efficient, then new investment is coming to countries, and new investment creates new opportunities for employment. New investment creates efficiencies and opportunities for businesses, and it spreads the benefit of trade by spreading the wealth. All right, so that's just a very quick introduction. At the end of the session, we will have a Q&A. First, let me introduce the speaker, Mr. Sathaporn, who is here with us in person this morning. Mr. Sathaporn has over 20 years of experience in the field of smart logistics technologies. Previous to working in Stevia, Technew, Thailand, where he is now located, he worked for many logistics companies, import-export marketing and energy concerns, such as Jindu Logistics Gas in Thailand, SISDA Import and Export in Thailand, Do Union Marketing in the economic zone between Thailand and China, New Zealand Technology and Asian Marine Energy. Mr. Sathaporn will be talking to us about the state of logistics on the ground, and then he'll be taking us through a very important aspect of logistics, which is the conservation or preservation, particularly of fresh fruit and vegetables as they move through the region. And the reason that that's important is because the more vegetables can be preserved and fresh goods can be preserved, the more value add accrues to the farmers and the more valuable the agricultural value chains become. So Mr. Sathaporn, thank you very much. I'll bring your presentation up on screen and hand the microphone over to you. Thanks.
Yeah. Okay, come. Thank you, everyone, for maybe too loud. Okay, first of all, this topic is very special for me also, but because of I try to use my experience to explain all of you about the train from Thailand go to China. And about this, many people think train will be save the cost for everybody. But the realistic, this trend in future is not good for China only. We will move product from Southeast Asia to Europe. This is the key. And because of China invests a lot of cold storage system in the train, they put a lot of effort, money to have a special container. Special container is mean they can last for more than 45 days to still cool. It means minus 25. This is the key to make this project from Southeast Asia to mid of Europe. Okay, so what is the key that we try to think transportation cross-border? Even now, the new road will be from Laos to Vietnam port, we know, and try to have from Thailand to southern part to Malaysia. Okay, but the thing is how to make cheap. This is a key word. If you transport everything and still expensive, by COVID, nobody can send by air. Even today, the realistic is Thailand try to send many things by air to China. No way. They're not allowed because about COVID free. So many people think by border, by train. No way again. Only 29 containers of durian go to China. The rest of the durian this year go by ship, which nobody understand why it happened like this. And we are lucky this year. The durian is not lucky. It's been Thailand not get big money this year because durian in Thailand is less than last year, 2 to 3 times. We lost big money. And now durian come out at second period, but this durian is not good enough to ship it out. Why I try to talk about durian? Because durian is the most important income of Thai farmer. And it is because of how to make durian real, taste and fresh in other country. In US, many people want to eat durian. Now, Vietnam start to have durian. Malaysia have durian. Because when you talk about this, you have to think durian cannot stay longer than 10 days. 14 is the most. Then when arrive destination, it melt, bad smell, cannot eat. So this is the key that I try to bring you to what I try to talk. Also, the other things, Thailand, Myanmar, Cambodia want to ship seafood fresh from here, from southern part to China. Before, China used a high technology, or the millionaire buy one 747. The whole plane is water tank. They fly from Peking to Russia to Scotland, make a big turn to collect fresh food, fresh live food, and bring back to Shanghai to sell in big market for millionaire in China because they need to eat live seafood. So, they make good money. But after COVID, this business collapsed because nobody can fly. Nobody can fly. So seafood is a value to everybody, right? We need to eat a fresh seafood, right? And we need to have an income from seafood. Thailand is a good agriculture seafood country. So these two things, it make to think how we can move these two special products. But I don't mean that this is only two, but I let the people understand these two things, the value of the market size is so huge. And these two things is make a lot of money for our Asia country. Vietnam going to have durian also. Vietnam have seafood. Burma have many people talk to me in Burma. They want to send the real life seafood to China, but cannot do. You have to imagine you want to send only 300 lobster to China by air in life. How much they have to pay cost of transporting by air? And how many percent stay there live when they arrive at the destination? Half. So what it's for? Because the people only want to eat the real fresh product and taste the real fresh aroma. And this is a big market for every product that we want to think about. Imagine, maybe the people know S&P cake. Hopefully, you know, Thailand have a very beautiful cake, designed in beautiful. And how about if we can send this cake to US, to England, and the real design of the Thai people is still put in the table in that faraway country, and it's real fresh. This is something I try to explain to you, to know that this is important. And then we're talking about the cost of transportation. If we can change the idea of the people to change the new way of processing, we use the word processing or we use the word treatment, then we can have a quality of seafood same as from sea, arrive in your table in Shanghai or arrive in New York, that taste is the same. How come? Let's think about this. And this technology is already in the world for more than many years by Belgium. But because of the cost and because of the planning, not good enough, and because of cost of production, it's still not economical. So it's not popular yet. But in this few years, China developed something which is make possibility for the world now. Okay, and technology they develop a lot. Okay, please go back to the comparison of three things. Okay. This is we call nitrogen treatment, and you can see the second one is carbon dioxide treatment. The other one is ammonia. Let's start with ammonia first. Ammonia is the first time in the world to make the product cold and freeze, but they only can make the minus 33 below. But the thing is, when you want to do one product to make it minus 33, it takes time more than 6 hours for same product. Okay, let's say water, to make it minus maybe 6 hours. Then go to carbon dioxide, is minus 78. and it will take 4 hours. Okay, so 8 hours, 4 hours, anything, it cost consume electrical. Because these two things, one is liquid gas, one is by generator, the ammonia engine, and everything is cost for you to make one piece of product, coal and minus and time consume. Then next is nitrogen, liquid. It can minus 196, but timing only 20 minutes. And when it going 20 minutes, it means you save everything, cost, time consume, people, labor, everything. But I will talk later. Okay, please go next. The picture of the oh no, I think below. Yeah, go down. Yeah, slide down. Another one. Oh, I think there is a blood, the red one. This is can let the people understand. Oh, he forget to put the one. Oh, okay, never mind. They made me forget. Okay, I have to tell one thing. When you make a fast feed, what we call freezer, you damage the cells of the product. And in the technical word, we call cold burn. So your durian will damage. And for understand very clear is, banana, กล้วยหอม or ลิ้นจี่ lychee, or เงาะ rambutan. We want to ship this three things to US. But if you feed it, everything turns to be black. And you cannot eat. And also durian. If you use these two things, ammonia or CO2, when it arrives destination and you want to serve in the table, you cannot because it change taste and change character and melt and start to be water. For what? And also, fish, shrimp, it's gone. It no taste at all. So this is what they burn, make the molecule of the things damaged because of slow cold make the crystal form in the cell and break the cell, and the concept is die. But compared to the nitrogen, they very fast, quick, then they will not damage even single cell. So compare for you to understand. Maybe many people can see the video about echo. Okay. So I worry the echo. Okay. So one thing that fish, I don't know you see it or not, they put the live fish into the machine and then come out like a rock and dang, and then they put in the bowl with the water and the fish come back live again. This is very popular YouTube. This is real. I can tell this is real. And it's made by nitrogen treatment system. But that fish die within 10 hours because lung problem. But the meat is still top quality. Okay, why top quality? For example, if I take the fish and I put into nitrogen and I ship from here to US, and we will stay in the cold storage -25 for another 2 years. 2 years. And when I serve in the table, when I cut the stomach of that fish, the blood still come out. Second, the meat that you use it, you can make sashimi. It means it's real same as before. This is very easy to compare. Then, now talking about logistics. How about cost from one live fish sent by air? Dear Zhao will help us to talk about this logistics company. But how about if one fish packed in plastic and put in the container, and one container can stay more than 25 tons of fish from Thailand in -25. And we ship from here to New York and stay there for a few months and then serve in the table. It's the same as the taste here. Okay, this is something to let you understand and compare. But it's not only food and not only seafood, but now Thailand, our government, agricultural governor, we are discussing about the future is about ready to eat food. Or we use the word future food. Thailand is professional in future food, insect food, plant food, and cooked food. Imagine when we talk about som tam, everybody knows som tam. But how you can eat the real som tam that made in Khon Kaen with a real Khon Kaen taste and arrive in New York the same taste? Because in New York, in US, they make som tam by green apple, not papaya. And the taste of aroma and the taste of Thai cooking, nam pra, it don't feel there. But if you can make som tam in Thailand and ship to the world everywhere, and when they start eating it, it's the same as they eat in Thailand. The second, now you know that Thailand is famous of khao soi. We are #1 in the world now, not Tom Yam Kung. Tom Yam Kung go #4. Khao soi Chiang Mai is #1 in the world. And what if we can send khao soi to anywhere in the world? So this is something that today many Michelin people here, Michelin develop a lot of food, future food, many food, and develop a lot. But how to serve the world? And this is a logistic concept. You can buy air or you buy sea. And even by air, you can save how many space, weight, time, keeping. So this is some of the picture that we can do many things, but the concept is how to use it in the right way. And the factory who doing it have to think about what you want to do, because capacity of one machine, the smallest one is one cycle, half an hour, can make half ton of the product. So the biggest size is 3 tons per cycle, which means if we produce one day, 16 hours, we can produce many food come out just one machine. But the concept is this nitrogen have to prepare and talk with the gas delivery. What we call gas is mean it's mean nitrogen gas supplier, which we have to try to build in the right location, factory. Don't let the gas send to you very far. So the gas will cost effective to transportation. Because you move gas, it's expensive, then you move product. So if you move the product to the center near the gas, that will make save cost. So this is something that very deep detail about this technology. And also when you think about the cross-border concept, this is a region we should help each other to develop the product from each country and make this thing to the world. We know this is a war. This is many things will happen. And Thailand or our country nearby is still the food center of the world. And we will develop this food product to the world market. This is a key, which I would like to explain. So I think this is enough for, right? Doctor, it's okay?
We are a bit limited for time, but we will come back with a question and answer at the end. This is a super interesting technology that can provide a lot of value add to farmers in the region and prevent a lot of crop and food loss in transportation of goods. So with your permission, ladies and gentlemen, we'll move to the next speaker. Yelena, can you hear us?
I can hear you and I can see you.
Great, Yelena, let me introduce you quickly. Yelena is from DHL. Yelena has a master's degree in business studies, Bachelor of Engineering and Computer Science. Before joining DHL, Yelena held the positions of Senior Sustainability Program Manager at Green Freight Asia. She was Strategy Director at Future Moves Group, Senior Director at the NOI's Group, and previous she was a Senior Project Manager at UNDP, the United Nations Development Program. Yelena is here to talk to us from the DHL perspective of emissions technology and electrical vehicles in the logistics. I hand it over to you, Yelena. I think you're going to share your screen with us. Is that correct?
Correct. Thank you so much for your introduction. And I hope that everybody in the audience also is able to hear me. Hold on a sec. Do you see my screen? Okay. Can you hear me? Do you see my screen, please?
Very clear. We can see you.
Okay.
We can hear you.
Excellent. Excellent. Great. Well, thank you so much, Julian, once again for this brief introduction. Today, I'm going to be talking a little bit on the other part of the logistics industry and the impacts of the technologies that it has in terms of environmental protection while we are growing our business. I think this is also very much important to follow the business growth, especially if we're talking about the trade and logistics industries. I'm holding a position of General Manager for Sustainability in Thailand, but I also oversee some of the operations in Vietnam. So I'm going to be talking about the road transport, which is our core business in terms of the energy consumption and how it can be a major driver in deployment of green technology, such as energy efficiency, fuel efficiency, renewable energy, and different digital solutions that we can leverage if we want to improve our carbon footprint and lower our carbon emissions. But if you are looking from the perspective of the road transport and the impact on the total greenhouse gas emissions, you could see that transport contributes to just a little bit of 16% of the total greenhouse gas emission. And if we split that in between different transport means, the road transport globally contributes to almost 12% of the total greenhouse gas emissions. And because it has such a fair share in energy usage at the global level and could significantly contribute to environment pollution and hence also the protection, we found that the road transportation within our operations is a significant impact of how we serve our customers, because at the end of the day is about improving your operational and environmental footprint, because it also contributes to higher goals and the entire ecosystem, including the value chain or the supply chain, what we like to call it. But before I move a little bit on to our own operations, would like to remind, because transport has such a fair share in the global greenhouse gas emissions, because we rely on the fossil fuels, it also has a very large negative impact on the planet itself. And mainly we're talking about the infrastructural losses because of the climate change impact, through the droughts, through the floods, which will trigger, and it has a ripple effect and will trigger large investments into adaptation and mitigation measures, which by far developing countries would be hit the most. And it will need to be invested globally over 500 billion US dollars by 2050 if we want to cut on the greenhouse gas emissions and prevent the worst case scenarios in terms of the climate crisis. Because our global footprint as the world, including all the industries, are emitting a little bit even more of the 50 gigatons of the greenhouse gas emissions annually. And in fact, greenhouse gas emissions globally are increasing. So we are still very much reliant on the fossil fuels because of the economic growth. What maybe is a new information, because we have not been bombed every day with it, but because of these infrastructure losses and different environmental impacts of the high temperatures that we are experiencing, it also impacts over 2 billion people who just in 2020 and 2021 experienced any of the type of the flooding event. 1.5 billion people across the globe are experiencing the droughts, and over 700 million people have experienced some kind of a damaging tropical storm. So these are all effects of the climate change and the effects of burning fossil fuels in such a high range, of which logistics industry is certainly one big part when we are looking into it globally. So this is where the electric vehicles come in to help to prevent this negative impacts, and not just as such, but we are talking about the public transportation such as electric buses, as well as commercial vehicles, light duty, heavy duty vehicles, which are delivering goods across the globe. So by electrifying our fleets and the public transportation, including allowing people to have larger access to electrified infrastructure that would power their fleets, would definitely significantly push the demand also for the renewable energy. Because if you're looking into the asset perspectives and the electric vehicle application, electric vehicles could only neutralize greenhouse gas emission if they're using renewable energy. But a national energy mix in Thailand is mainly formed around the oil, natural gas, and coal. And recently we're seeing the increase in deployment of biofuels and waste. But if we want to transform our economies to low carbon economies, including the investments into decarbonization of the transport, we would need largely actually to invest into access to clean energies and renewable energies through the public infrastructure. And when you're looking into energy markets of Thailand, you would notice that the energy production and this is great because it, of course, electrification contributes to the economic growth of the country. But at the same time, we need to think about how also, as a result of energy, higher energy demand is also impacting the increase in terms of CO2 emissions. And this is why the state policies and public policies, together with sustainable development scenarios of the energy transition, is very much important if we want to reach the net zero emissions by 2050, which would be aligned with the Paris Agreement and the national obligations with the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development and Sustainable Development Goals. And one of them is absolutely electrification and access to clean energies. So again, if we would like to tackle the emissions from the transportation, we need to think about energy in general and how we could faster transition to clean energies. And because transport is so important part of the logistic industries because it occurs in many different departments. So from the raw extraction to the processing in the plant, you would require some transport. From the plant to the manufacturing assembly and all the way to distribution of the finished goods. In all these stages, you require transportation all the way to the end of the life. So from the perspective of one company which wants to work around the transportation solutions and green technologies, you would need to consider all three scopes of your emissions so that you can see where your investment should be focused to. And just like any other multinational company which is operating across the globe, DHL is also committed to report on its greenhouse gas emissions from all of the operations globally. And we do that through the recognized methodology for the greenhouse gas accounting called Greenhouse Gas Protocol, which is then the prerequisite for the science-based targets reporting. And this is the methodology that must be used to publicly disclose your carbon footprints. So from the perspective of this accounting, we split emissions in three different scopes, whereas our warehouses or the facilities and our own company's vehicles would fall, and the emissions would fall under scope 1, which we also call direct emissions. And then we have a scope 2 emissions regarding the purchase of electricity. And the largest one, as you could see, upstream and downstream, would be the scope 3 emissions. And actually scope 3 emissions, any logistics company and especially multinational company would be the largest area where emissions occur, and it involves a lot of logistic partners, supply chain partners, vendors, all the way to manufacturers in the upstream and different types of the business commuting, because it also not only occurs in each of the phases from the beginning of the product, but also to the end. It also occurs in most of other types of the businesses as well, because we are belonging all to one ecosystem. So in terms of how we at the DHL are looking into sustainability when it comes to our logistics, is that we largely focus on our warehouses and turning them into carbon neutral facilities, as well as cutting on the emissions from our own transport. We also switched to entirely renewable energy and the purchase of the electricity that comes for 4 different types of the sources. And then we also have our scope 3 emission, or our value chain emission, which is exactly what I spoke a little bit before here. So you see that you can imagine that these 3 scopes would be our focus, but if we flip the coin, we also have to think about how we contribute to our value chain partners and mainly our customers. So just as like us, our customers have their own emissions, so we belong to their scope 3. Just like our suppliers are belonging to us to scope 3, we contribute to our customers. So when you're looking into logistic industry, you see that everything is pretty much connected. So improving our own operations and greening our own operations, we are basically greening and push the market throughout the entire ecosystem and the value chain. And it really matters as we grow our business to actually decrease our carbon footprint. And if you would benchmark us against the traditional supplier to the same customer to us, you would see that what you can control and manage in your own operation would put you as a green logistic, definitely brings a lot of advantages in comparison to a traditional logistic company. In terms of our emission transparency, therefore, we are purchasing 100% renewable energy since 2021, and we are continuing to purchase only renewable energy. We are doing that through the national power grid, as well as through our own assets into photovoltaic systems on our warehouses. So our 4 main energy sources are biomass, biogas, solar, and agricultural waste. But we are also largely investing into technologies in our warehouses to bring them to net zero and carbon neutral. As for now, we are on 94% of our targets. We still use some of the diesel and LPG in our operations because of the weather conditions that are not allowing fast phase out of the equipment that we have. But we are working towards that. And you can see when it comes to transportation that 90% of entire emissions that are arising in our transport are actually emissions that are coming from our subcontractors. So only 10% of the total emissions are coming from our own fleet. And as much as important, we wouldn't be doing all of this if it's not recognized by our customers, for which we are very proud that they recognize each of the steps that we are putting into greening our operations. And 66% of our customers actually are contracting us exclusively because we are bringing these new technologies into our operations. So what we do is our DNA into sustainability to serve better to our customers. And that is why it's important to look into electric vehicles as a future technology, already now, of course, market ready, but because of some of the barriers that we are experiencing in the markets, and different markets would have different circumstances, we don't find yet to be largely adopted, especially not here in Thailand. But as you can see from the graph, electrification of the fleets and electric vehicle itself will have a significant role into energy transition. The reason why we still experience barriers is because of the limited renewable energy sources and access to clean electricity. Major companies, small and medium enterprises that we have in our network, and they are our suppliers and our value chain partners, do not have an access to clean electricity, and therefore electric vehicle, if it doesn't use renewable energy, it will not neutralize your footprint. It will definitely contribute to an air pollution and lower emissions in terms of black carbon and other particles, but will not neutralize your carbon footprint if you're not using renewable energy. The second barrier that logistic companies would experience would be the lack of public infrastructure along the main corridors of the delivery, which logistic companies are largely using when traveling from Chiang Mai, for example, to Bangkok. That would be the second barrier that logistic company would experience. And the information and the data from 2021 would be that we're just having about 1,000 of electric vehicles charging stations in comparison and against 30,000 of traditional gas stations. So if we want to have more electric vehicles on the road, we need to build access to a charging station and public infrastructure because of the limitations of the batteries, mainly because some of the batteries, of course, have a limitation on the number of kilometers that they can travel. And that's why electric vehicles for deliveries would be now only ready for the urban areas. So they're still not developed enough to travel from Chiang Mai to Bangkok. The third barrier would be this technology market readiness and durability that I was telling you about. For example, the batteries limitations, but it also has a high cost on the imports, and in some local markets, the technology, because it's not ready yet, would not be competitive. And the fourth barrier would be commercial part of it. It's difficult to commercialize it due to the high initial costs. And the price still remains the major factor when you are contracting your manufacturer or buying such a type of the assets. Environmental concerns are still not yet there to push more the market and adoption of electric vehicles. But luckily, people who are working into investment part of the sustainability, sustainable fuels, fuel efficiency, renewable energy and energy efficiency recognize that the opportunities are far more larger and greater than the barriers are, because we have now an opportunity to use our resources more efficiently, which previously, because the technology was not market ready, wouldn't be possible. But now, because we have all these technologies with us, and we should support them, we have an opportunity to use these resources more efficiently, to use more renewable energy in our operations, so we can make our supply chains more resilient onto external factors such as unpredictable weather conditions, the loss of infrastructure, and different disturbances in terms of the supply chains, which one of them we could experience during COVID as well. So we have now an opportunity to make things different, to make our products and services more sustainable, so we can embark on a green journey and find our ways in the new markets, which will significantly also push our business growth. So these would be opportunities which from us working in this industry would be far greater than the barriers are. So one of the value chain benefits of greening your logistics, because you have so many things that are going on all the way from the extraction to end of life, we believe that it brings a lot of benefits to entire value chain, because once you're starting phasing out your diesel powered, for example, trucks, and replacing them with the electrified one using renewable energy to power your fleet, it will push up the entire value chain and probably bring a lot of benefits in green job creations, from electronic waste recycling all the way to manufacturing, but also will push a new job skills requirements and probably positively impact also the curriculums in our educational systems. So as you could see, electrical vehicle as such, also, although it is just one asset, it is connected through logistics industries to many other phases of the product development, and it involves a large part of other industries as well. So you can imagine, for example, when you have a higher demand of electric vehicles, you would push the market of automotive and original equipment manufacturers. And because these would be usually multinational companies, it would also push a market of small and medium enterprises who would be working around key components such as energy storage and batteries, which is also on the rise, but as well as the charging infrastructure, which we all together consider as the integrated infrastructure. Because if we're talking about electric vehicles, we always talk about electric vehicles together with the renewable energy infrastructure that we can conserve it, store it, and then use it later on. And that is why electric vehicle demand pushes both automotive and energy companies, especially renewables, to change the energy mixes of the countries so that more people have access to renewable energy through public infrastructure. And if you in the future want to build automation and electrify your operations, you would need to do that very smartly, using the strategies of digital solutions, the strategy of your expansion, combining the generation with the consumption within your assets, and do a lot of predictions around your demand and supply, because that's the only way how to automate things. So you need to go more electrical if you want to have an accurate analysis and estimates for your future growth. On the flip coin and on the flip side, if you want to compare a type of the same vehicle but through different power sources, this is a very simple calculation here. There's more to it, of course, but I try to simplify it and compare and benchmark against the same category of the electric vehicles that is for the urban deliveries, which would be 10-wheeler, that it's powered through diesel, electricity from the fossil fuels, or electricity from renewable energy. And while in all three cases, we need an energy as such, it's a different source, we would still require that energy. But if you would apply the emission factors for each type of this energy source, you would see that diesel would generate 65 tons of 65 kilograms of the CO2 emissions, whereas electric vehicle using electricity from the national power grid, where there is a certain energy mix that also considers renewable, would be by far more significant. Renewable energy would offset and neutralize completely your footprint as an end user.
Jelena,
And
interrupt.
yes,
We have just a few seconds left, so maybe you could just wrap up.
sure.
We'll
I'm wrapping up. I'm
Yeah.
wrapping up.
Nice.
And in this transition, we used a lot of digital solutions at the beginning. Now we are electrifying our fleet and moving towards net zero and hydrogen. So this would be our pathway, just as in the warehouses, preparing our integrated infrastructure for electric vehicle application. You can imagine that our agenda is pretty big, and we consider it as one of the strategic points in the business growth, especially knowing how much of the people we employ across the globe as a 11th largest private employer in logistics company. So bringing our emission from the transport and from the warehouse together, known as logistics, we plan to lower our footprint for about 17 kilotons. And this is where I came to the end of my presentation. I hope this was successful for you to understand how multinational companies are actually decarbonizing their operations while still making sure that the business growth is in place. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Yelena. That was fantastically interesting. The aspect of emissions in the logistics value chain is something that we're all thinking about, and it's wonderful to hear from one of the world's largest logistics providers how you're going to do that. Our next speaker is Michelle Zhao. She's from the Phnom Penh SEZ. Special economic zones play a very important role in logistics. They are areas where you can concentrate reforms even where the country itself is divided. And the Phnom Penh Special Economic Zone was able to facilitate investment into Cambodia during difficult times. And it is well situated along this transport corridor, allowing it to facilitate trade from Thailand through Cambodia and down to Vietnam. Michelle, can you hear us?
Yes, Dr. Julian.
Thanks, Michelle. I'm just going to give a quick introduction. Michelle holds a bachelor's degree in Japanese literature. She joined the Royal Group Phnom Penh Special Economic Zone in 2013. The Royal Group is a leading SEZ developer, and it's the first entity listed in Cambodia. Currently, they have more than 100 factories and 40,000 employees from 14 different nations invested inside the zone. And as its general manager for operations, Michelle oversees general daily operation of the company, including market customer service, infrastructure development, and so on. As well, she represents the company, its tenants. She's dealing with various departments and ministries in Cambodia directly to facilitate the needs of the investors in her zone. So prior to Cambodia, she was working in Japan in the textile and garment sector. Thank you so much for joining us, Michelle, and we'll be happy
Thank
to
you.
your presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. So I will share my screen, right?
Yeah, that'd be great if you can share your screen. Thank you.
Okay. Can you see my screen?
And can see you. Thank you.
Okay. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for Dr. Julian's introduction. I'm Nisha. I come from Lawyer Group Phnom Penh SEZ. It's my great honor to be here today to have the chance to introduce you about Kremenjas. So we are a private SEZ developer in Cambodia. So simply speaking, our business is similar as the industry park development in Thailand, such as Amata, Rajana, 304, WHA. So we are a private SEZ developer in Cambodia. We established, as you can see the company profile, we established in 2006 and got listed in 2016 in Cambodia Stock Exchange market. Right now, we have 4 main shareholders. 45% held by Intra-Logistic, which is a Cambodia company. The second biggest shareholder is JWD Info Logistics, which is a Thai listed company. Number 3, we have Zefa from Japan, and also we have individual shareholder from Singapore. So we have quite a lot of different nationalities shareholders. So in terms of the board directors as well, we have multi-nationalities. We have Nyapnya Gapman as our chairman, who is also holding the chairman position of the Cambodia Chamber of Commerce. We have Wemat as our CEO. We have Mr. Mark from the England as our board of directors. The remaining, we also have Osborne from Japan, Mr. Tanet from Thai, and then the remaining 2 from Malaysia. So a very quick brief about our company. So as Dr. Julian just introduced, we are in our group. We actually have 2 main SEZ along what we call South Corridor of ASEAN. So we can access from Vietnam, cross the border Bavit, and by using National Road number 1, we can reach to Phnom Penh, the capital city of Cambodia. So after that, after cross National number 5, we have another SEZ in Hoi Pet city, which is a border city between Cambodia and Thailand. Hoi Pet actually is the main gateway for the truck transportation between Cambodia and Thailand. So another information I would like to bring is in Cambodia right now on registration basis, we have around 59 SEZ. So right now around half of which around 30 SEZ and operation. So the main location, the main area for this SEZ, one is in Buffet area. So in the border between Vietnam and Cambodia. The second is Phnom Penh area. The third is the border between Cambodia and Thailand. So besides Hoi Pet, we have another area called Koko. Koko area we also have one SEZ. And the last one is Sihanouk Viet area. Sihanouk Viet is the DC port in Cambodia. So in the Sihanouk Viet area, we also have 2 SEZ. Okay, so from now on, I will give a brief introduction about our Phnom Penh SEZ. So as you can see this map, our SEZ locates in a very strategic locations. We have easy access to Phnom Penh International Airport, only around 8 kilometers. And then also from Phnom Penh Thang around 18 kilometers. And right now, Cambodia just opened the first expressway from Phnom Penh to Sihanouk Viet port. So we also have very easy access to the expressway. Besides that, there's a very thin line stands for the railway. So the railway also cross our zone. From our zone, we also can access to Phnom Penh port, Phnom Penh new port, by the new road, ring road number 3, which is still under construction. And then by road number 3, we can up to the new international airport. Our current Phnom Penh SEZ, we have the total size of 365 hectare land. This SEZ mostly we are fully occupied already. So we are doing expansion of another 100 hectare nearby Phnom Penh SEZ. In Phnom Penh SEZ, the main infrastructure, we have one dry port. We also have independent power plants, so waste treatment plants, and also water purification plants. Right now, in total, we have 107 tenants. The majority is from Japan, secondly from China, the third is from Thailand. From Thai, we have Petgrow doing the animal feed. We have SBI making electronic products. So from the other ASEAN countries, we also have from Singapore, Malaysia, and Vietnam, and the Philippines. This graph shows the investors by the number of the investment amount. So still the top is Japanese tenants. The second is from China. The third is from the America. We have 3 American tenants. One is Coca-Cola. Another is Laurentian Diamonds, which is a diamond polishing company, a subsidiary of Tiffany Co. Yeah. So this is our main industry type of our tenants. In Cambodia, still we have the main industry is garment, textile, and footwear. However, in our zone, you can see we have electronics, and car automobile parts. So a lot of new industries invested inside our zone. So some brief introduction about our tenants. Before COVID, we always used the term as Thai +1 and China +1. So even a lot of Japanese tenants, they invested in Cambodia, support the mother factory in Thai and in China. So we can say Denso. Denso is very big automobile parts manufacturer. They are Thai +1 factory. So Denso expansion, another, you can see the roof color is a little bit different. So they are expanding their production recently. We have Minebia. Minebia also, we can say they are Thai +1 company. They are from the main investor is from Japan. However, let's say the technician, the support is from their Thai company. So we have SME wiring system. They are producing wiring harness for automobile industry. So they are also keep expansion. This is their own factory. After that, they requested us to build a rental factory for them. Right now, we already built up to the third rental factory for them with similar size of their own factory. So they are expanding quite fast. Laurentian Diamonds, I've just mentioned, they are the subsidiary of Technew. They are polishing diamonds in Cambodia. They have mother factory from Vietnam. So this is their factory. We have SVI from Thailand. They're producing electrical and electronic parts. So this is the number of employees. Even during the COVID, luckily we still keep expanding. So as of now, we have around 40,000 employees working inside our zone. So next, I will briefly introduce our new SEZ located in Bordwe. Around 2016, we chose Bordwe as the second destination of SEZ expansion, mainly because of its location. So as you can see from this map, Bordwe just located between the border between Cambodia and Thailand. It has very convenient access to the factories surrounding Bangkok. So this is our target tenants. We target those manufacturers right now located surrounding Bangkok area, and they can shift parts of their process to Bordwe, especially labor incentive process. So this is our target. So from Bordwe to Bangkok, only have around 257 kilometers. To Lim Port, around 240. And then to Simlia, where Angkor Wat locates, is around 2 hours car distance, 151 kilometers. So we can access from National Road number 5 to Bordwe from Phnom Penh. So this is the map of Bordwe town. The yellow line shows the border between Cambodia and Thailand. Right now we have the border gate. And the pink line indicates National Road number 5. So right now both passenger and also the cargo access from the current border. So it's very congested. So right now, actually, the government is building another gate called Sternborn Gate in Bordwe, only for cargo transportation. So our zone from the new gate, only 3.5 kilometers can access to our gate. According to the investment law in Cambodia, within 20 kilometers from the board, the truck does not need to change the head. So that means the truck from Thai side can access directly to our SEZ. So a little bit about the new gate, which called Sathaporn gate. So the access road from Thai side already completed, and then also the access from the gate to national number 5 also completed. So right now we're only waiting for the gate itself. So we hope it can be ready very soon. So our SEZ in Bordwe, the size is around 70 hectare land. All of the basic infrastructure we already prepared. So we have water treatment plant, electricity, water purification plant. So this is some photos of our current development. Right now we have two main tenants in Bordwe. One is called Metronics. They are producing the circuit board for let's say printer. So they have mother factory in near Bangkok area. So they started operation since 2018. Metronics is our first investor. So right now we have another investor called HDB Group. HDB Group is a main car distributor in Cambodia. Let's say they distribute Mazda here in Cambodia. So they rent our rental factory, and also they concrete very big size of storage area. They plan to import the car parts and also the car itself and storage in our zone and sell to Cambodia market. Yeah. So this is the rough information about our zone. Thank you very much.
Wow, thank you so much, Michelle. So I
Thank
think
you.
you can see from the presentation that large companies are using the special economic zones following the transport path across the region to microchips through to Chinese diamonds, through to small electrical goods, component manufacturing, and auto parts manufacturing. It's very interesting. Thank you so much. Now
Thank
we
you.
have 10 minutes left for questions to any of our presenters. So please, I open the floor to anyone who has any questions.
Hi. Hello. Good morning. I'm Dwight. I'm with the development team from the Embassy of Australia here in Thailand. But previously, I was also with the ASEAN Secretariat for the Environment team and also with Mekong Institute for the Food Safety team. My question is with Kun Sathaporn and Yelena earlier. I think both presentations provided us a quick insight of what are the developments in terms of technologies that would support cross-border trade in the GMS region. My question is, I think the challenge in the region, I think the challenge is in the region is one, the access to technology, both on the cold chain technology and also on electric vehicle technology. And second would be the human resource capacity of the region to support this technology. So my question is, do you have any policy recommendation or maybe some suggestions for regional initiatives that would help boost the region's capacity to support these technologies? Because of course, cold chain technology and electric vehicles are good technology in the greater Mekong, specifically in the context, in the development context, it is also technologies in basically in the future.
I can answer first if that's okay. I think from the perspective of electric vehicle application, the market is ready. We see electric vehicles currently, the development stage of them is to be a reliable and good asset in urban transportation, but we do not see it feasible to be for the long hauls because the battery has a limitation, and therefore we are still reliable largely on the diesel. And if you're looking into Thailand, you would find that majority of the logistics companies are running on still on diesel, with maybe short plans on implementation of different technologies. For us, electric vehicle is part of our midterm commitment to deliver cleaner operations for our customers. And before the hydrogen and biofuels are readily available across the market and competitive in prices, of course, and especially in the markets where carbon price is not yet embedded into the final product, means a lot. So we are still looking into a large adoption of electric vehicles on our road all the way until 2030, when we hope that this technology would also be complemented by the hydrogen, which we can then use for our large distance deliveries. That's one thing, but we see application of the electric vehicles in far larger industrial scope than just as a transportation mean. For us, because we also deliver on behalf of our customers cold and fresh and dry foods, means that our vehicles and our assets needs to be adjusted to the circumstances or to the goods that we are delivering. So when we are talking about delivery of the fresh food or the frozen food, we also consider parts which we need to adjust our fleet with, so that we do not have, for example, food waste and food losses when delivering such type of the good. Yes, markets are ready for electric vehicles, but as I said, it doesn't make much sense if you have a lot of electric vehicles on the roads without the access to clean energies, because electric vehicle cannot neutralize the carbon footprints, which are the main polluters and the main concerns for people's health, if we don't have the access to renewable energy to start a serious energy transition, and start phasing out with the competitive prices, both of the electric vehicles as well as access to renewable energy. Because if it doesn't go into a combination, the effect would not be as the one that governments across the globe, as the nations, are targeting within the Paris Agreement. So we need to take and consider electric vehicle in a larger scale of a technology adoption, including the small parts, the key parts, the charging station, and as the integrated infrastructure, as well as the renewable energy access. And that forms a big value chain then.
About the nitrogen treatment, I think Thailand have developed and start already in center of Thailand and southern of Thailand. So if anyone interested in this can contact me directly to explain more deeply about this, because we have to let the people understand the procedure clearly. And you have to think about what food, what type of product you want to do, and then you can minimize the cost. The most important is keywords is how to save cost of transportation and make the product lifelong and make value added to that product, to make the price and end of the people who consume comparison not too expensive, and include the transportation. this is the, the graph have to be evaluation together, but this is not just one answer, but we have to let you understand this clearly. Then also the time you have to prepare for the whole year plan. Many people don't understand this, and they make a short plan, and then it's not value. But when you do a long term, it's make your, let's say, uh, ROI, if you do in the right way, 2 year only for this project.
Any questions for Michelle?
Of the presentation. Hello, my name is Sung-Eun Kim. I'm from the Korean Embassy based in Bangkok. So thank you so much for your insightful presentation. So I'm very new to Bangkok, just arrived 2 months ago, and I read Bangkok Post news article about high-speed railway project connecting China, Thailand, Cambodia, all the way to Malaysia and Singapore. So the article pointed out that the process or progress in Thailand is not as much as other countries. So the article sort of, pointed out that Thailand is not as active as other countries, and the construction process is, construction procedures left behind in Thailand in comparison with other countries. So do you have any idea what's the sort of, challenges out there for Thailand is experiencing on that project? Thank you. If anybody can answer that questions.
I mean, not so easy to understand your question, but I try to minimize your question. But because I crossed with China a long time, and I speak Chinese, and I think by this COVID, we learned a lot of things from China side, and how we can work together. Because as I know, China will not open until next year. And what else that our Asia country can work together with them? And also, China want to invest something here, but cannot come out. Okay, so for this moment, we have to invest by ourselves, and we have to work hard to survival, and also still developing new project with government. Our government support us to push this project, which I told you already, ready to eat project. The most important ready to eat is for the world market, not only for China. But if we can work together with all our region to help each other to develop the product together, to support the world food, what we call world food. Not talk about just only Thai food, but Thailand and center here. We have facility, factory, people development. Thai people develop a lot of food, and that is the key that we are trying to put so much about this, and government push so hard about this project to make Thailand be a center of Southeast Asia to develop the new food. I hope to answer, but really hard.
I think that she was in particular interested in the physical infrastructure related to the high-speed train that is envisaged, that will eventually link China, Yunnan province, down through Laos to Thailand, and maybe include Cambodia in future as part of the Belt and Road project. But I think there's a lot to discuss, but we have a second logistics session after lunch. Michelle, I also wanted to come back to you also to ask what policy recommendations you would ask for in terms of facilitating special economic zones. But I wonder if, given that we are a bit out of time, perhaps it's best we go to lunch and we come back to explore some of these questions in the logistics session after lunch. But before we go, I'd like to say a very big thank you to Yelena, to Mr. Sathaporn for fantastic presentation. Michelle, it was really wonderful. I loved every minute. And thank you so much. It's been an honor having you today. Thank you for sharing all this information and knowledge with us. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.